So we will get started with the Wildwood Celebration Commission meeting for Wednesday, June 14th. And with that, we want to welcome everyone to the meeting here. Do want to take a moment just to mention that we will get started with the Wildwood Celebration Commission meeting for Wednesday, June 14th. With that, I want to welcome everyone to the meeting here. Just to mention that good. Okay. Sounds good. So before we get started with today's meeting, just want to ask you to keep in your thoughts Commissioner Charlie Siebert, who is not doing well, but he seems like on the path to recovery. So we want to wish him and Susan, who's was once a former member of the commission as well, good thoughts and prayers for a speedy recovery for Charlie. So just want to make sure that everyone is aware of that, and we hope to see him soon. So with that, we will now move into the roll call.
Commissioner Slaughter, Commissioner Schultz, Commissioner Jailing,
Present.
Commissioner Hudson,
Present.
Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Coleman,
Present.
Commissioner Shrimp,
Present.
Commissioner Siebert, Council Liaison Garitano, and myself. Thank you.
All right. Well, that's good. And it's nice to hear present. The council typically says here, and present is another formal way. So, all right. With that, then we will move on to agenda item number 3. This was brought up at the last meeting, and we postponed it to this meeting here. So, Joe, do you want to cover that item?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, before I do a very brief presentation on the election process, I'd like to welcome our newest member, Ms. Schultz. Maybe with your permission, Mr. Chair, she can maybe do a little introduction.
All right, welcome to the commission here, and we'll certainly help you out in the process of our meetings. A tip for you: whenever you speak, just make sure you press the button on your microphone, and that way they will hear you over the Zoom and YouTube. And then once you complete speaking, push the button so you can turn the microphone off. So that's my advice. But we'll help get you up to speed. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair and members of the commission, when the commission was reformed a number of years ago, there is a decision made at that time amongst the members that there be a council liaison that would serve as a co-chair to be that direct link between the commission itself and the city council, which ultimately approves our budget, signs all the checks, so to speak. But there was also an equal desire to have a resident member or a citizen member be a co-chair, so the two could coordinate and there be a voice, so to speak, for the rest of you. Not that Mr. Garitano in his current capacity won't listen. He does a very good job of listening, but that was the rationale. At the last meeting in May, there was a discussion. There was actually a nomination as referenced in the minutes, but Ms. Helpfrey was not here and she is term limited out. So tonight we would like to offer to you the opportunity to elect a co-chair to serve with Mr. Garitano. The way this works is we'll accept nominations from the floor. If there's one, we'll vote on that. If there's two, we'll vote on the first nominee. If there's not enough votes, then we go to the second and we continue forward in that pattern. And with that, Mr. Garitano. is, I will turn that back over to you to conduct the nominations. Thank
All
you.
right. So the nominations. So you can nominate someone or if you wish to nominate yourself should be appropriate.
Maybe it's a little self-indulgent, but I'm happy to nominate myself as a professional event planner and someone with a lot of time on our hands. I'm happy to do it if no one else wants to. If someone else who's more tenured on the commission wants to step up, I would happily support that as well. But if no one else is raising their hand, I would love to do it.
All right, so we'll take that as a motion to nominate yourself, and Commissioner Jailing has seconded that motion. Is there any other item for discussion on the motion here, or any other nomination? All right, well then, in that case, seeing that there are none, we'll just do a voice vote here, and all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Anyone oppose or abstain? Like the motion passes, congratulations.
Thank you. This is way better than running for class president in 7th grade. Like this is way smoother.
Very easy. All right, moving on, next on the agenda, we have the approval of the minutes from the May 11th meeting. So we'll seek a motion for approval of the minutes of the May 11th meeting, and if there's a second. So Commissioner Hudson, and then a second, anyone wishes to second that motion? All right, and Commissioner Ashley Slaughter there. So we have a second now. All in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye. Anyone opposed or abstain? All right, the minutes are approved. So now we will seek public comment. And in the room, there are none present. So we'll just check to see if there's anyone online that wishes to speak. I see just one attendee.
And that's me. So.
Okay. So I don't think you'll be speaking then, right? So seeing none, we have none in the room or on Zoom, and just checking if we had anything written that we need to consider.
No, sir, we have not received any comments relative to any of the agenda items tonight.
Okay. Moving on to item 6 of the agenda here, the discussion of the 2023 Celebrate Wildwood event. The selection of sub-themes for This Is My Wildwood. Joe.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair and members of the commission, as the members will recall at our May meeting, a decision was made by vote to select This Is My Wildwood as the theme for this year's event. That theme would carry over not only to the main event itself, the activities that are the core of the Celebrate Wildwood event, but the parade. There was also kind of a tangential discussion about creating potential sub-themes for different components of the event, such as the parade, the opening ceremonies, the main concert, the fireworks display, and then I added other as just an opportunity for any of the commission members if they thought of another opportunity we should consider. The table, for the most part, explains, I think, what was discussed and the potential sub-themes. In terms of the parade sub-themes, those were original suggestions for the overall theme for the 2023 event. I thought those might be a good starting point, acknowledging that the internet component was recommended not to be considered for any of the 2023 activities. And then in terms of the opening ceremonies, there was a discussion about the Hometown Heroes banner program and maybe highlighting that. We've had great success with the concert as kind of promoting it as a date night. We've done that on a couple of different occasions, and it seems to kind of ring true with a lot of people that attend the event. And then again, our fireworks display, based upon, again, another decision by the commission at the May meeting, was that we're going with a new provider and we're extending the length of the show. And so there's maybe some opportunities. Also this year, this particular company does music along with the display. They seem to have a bit more of a coordinated approach than the previous provider. And so that's an opportunity as well. So again, what Stacy, Chris, and I have provided you are just some thoughts that were brought forward at the May meeting or previous meetings before that. And so tonight, we're just here to present those and then take your direction relative to how you like to proceed. Thank you.
We'll open up for discussion now if anyone wishes to comment.
For those of you who have participated in the parade before, do any of these immediately tickle your creative bone? Do you think, I think when I think of Wildwood City Parks and Trails, one, it's something we're really proud of. We just opened another park and it feels like I could see a lot of adorable children dressed as squirrels. Like it feels like there's like a path there, but is there anything else on this list that you feel like would be inspiring to those participating?
Slaughter, I think as part of our staff, I could think of two people that would be great squirrels.
See, I mean,
Great.
I think Travis would make a great deer. He's got those big eyes. I think that there's great opportunity there. Yeah. I think I really like this Parks and Trails one because I think it would be easy to incorporate and because I think it speaks directly to Wildwood. The other one I like is the Wildwood Wonders because I think that does also open it up in the spirit of this is my Wildwood. I think Wonders can be interpreted in a couple ways. It could be Parks Trails. It could be the great food offerings we have. Maybe someone dresses as spaghetti. I don't know. So those are the two that I think are really on brand.
Any thoughts from anyone?
Ms. Hudson, thank you.
I think somebody could do something for the golf carts about the trails too. I think
Mhm.
that would be an easy. It could be the parks, you know, they could have a slide on that golf cart. I mean, there's lots of things. I think.
Joe, you looking for a selection of a sub-theme for tonight?
Well, if you take a look at our calendar, the next time we meet will be approximately 3 months out from the event. So if we are going to start promoting different sub-themes, it's probably about the right time. As you know, we're going to start earlier this year with our promotion and advertising based upon the increase in the fees we're charging to all participants. And we've made that promise that if we're charging you more, we'll do as best as we can, commission and city, to fill that venue with people all of the hours of the event. So yes, I would appreciate the direction. And again, we talked about the parade. Certainly that could be the sub theme and the only sub theme, but if you'd like to do something with the opening ceremonies, the main concert that draws the most number of people typically, or the fireworks display, certainly.
When we go back to the city of parks and trails, it might be kind of fun if we chose that theme, sub theme. Every commissioner's golf cart could be a different trail. We could put the name on, so that really brings out to, so everyone knows what trails we have, and then we could, you know, decorate our cart according to that trail, or, you know. So, I mean, I think that'd be a good one to go with, because that would be easy when we're decorating. I mean, we're not artists very much decorating the cards, but at least we could at least have something on it that each one could represent, or a trail or a park. And we have plenty of them to pick from. So
Definitely, we could easily accommodate it.
get signs.
So I'm hearing, it sounds like in the commission here that sub-theme of Wildwood City of Parks and Trails is the one that is getting the most attention. So maybe without any, if there isn't any objection, we just move forward with that one there. And all the points taken that were made about, trying to bring to life a trail or a park and trying to visualize that, like whether it's the golf carts or other ways that could be done. So I think that would be great. And I think too that maybe also letting folks know that you don't have to necessarily lock yourself into maybe a park or a trail. Because we've had in the past in Valley, they had a wonderful float with the skiers. So, that this is still a recreational theme that, they're interested, I'd say keep doing that.
I have been told they opened the facility during the summer months for people just to use the trail system out there. So I think that would kind of fit together very well. So certainly. And again, I assume this is a slaughter for the parade itself. And again, there's other opportunities. I just don't want to leave them behind if there is an interest in having a sub theme for any of the other components.
I think that our main theme is pretty open-ended, and I think that like it is a good umbrella theme. I think if there's too many themes, too many sub things, it can get a little muddy. And so I kind of like the umbrella theme then with the parade theme being what I feel is pretty tangential, but I don't know if that's the opinion of the committee.
Say that again. You
So
mean
basically
like-
just saying, I think that the
Like
two is
Parks and
great.
Trails.
Like, I think that this is my Wildwood as the overall umbrella theme, then a sub theme of the parade, and then that's it. Like, that feels substantial for
I
me.
think it's good to have that stuff. Remember, asked me Monday night, this is my Wildwood, what does it mean? So I had to explain that, like, you're trying to bring to life, well, based on the conversation we had the last time, if I recall correctly, and that's why I explained it, I said is interpreted what does Wildwood mean to you? So by putting the sub-theme, you think we kind of give folks some direction there?
Yeah.
Because one of the council members did see that and wanted to know what that meant. So that would be good.
So Ms. Slaughter, if I could, would you like to make a motion to do a single sub theme associated with the parade? And that would be Wildwood, City of Parks and Trail.
I would like to make a motion that we do a single sub theme and have that sub theme be Wildwood, City of Parks and Trails.
Anyone want to second that? All right, so I think you seconded before, so we'll let you second. And I apologize, Kristen. All right, looking at the name tags here. Kirsten. All right, so Kirsten seconded that. So any other discussion on that? All right, well then all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, anyone oppose or abstain? All right, that motion passes. Joe.
Thank you. The next item on tonight's agenda relates to the parade again. In this particular instance, not necessarily any theme or sub-theme, but the selection of the Grand Marshal or marshals. As we discussed at our May meeting, there was homework assignment, as I recall, to kind of think about what you might like in terms of a Grand Marshal or marshals. And for the most part, we don't necessarily need to make a decision tonight. If we did it in July, that's still almost 2 full months before the event itself. And I would think for the most part, we could make those arrangements with the individual and individuals. For the most part, what the department identified as a potential option would be those individuals that are honored on our banners as part of the Hometown Heroes program. Acknowledging some of them have passed, but certainly as we did last year with Mr. Schmidt, we had a family member represent Mr. Schmidt as the Grand Marshal. So that's just a starting point for discussion. Obviously, I think we have 9 individuals identified as our hometown heroes with our initial display of banners. Just a starting point. If there are others, Stacy, Kristen, and I'll be glad to research them, or if there's a motion tonight, get the wheels in motion on it. Thank you.
think, Joe, that's a great idea. I mean, I haven't,
Program being new, it feels like the year to do it.
this is a great way. Dr. Jason Napoli, who is one of the banners, actually was the main reason for why we have the banners. He came to me about 2 years ago, or even more, because he wanted to start a banner program here in Wildwood. And he came before one of our committee meetings to present his idea. And even while he was called to service overseas, his dad kept in touch to help make sure that the idea was moving forward. So, there's one person, and the others that are recognized. I know we have a staff member here at City Hall that's on one of the banners. I think that's just a great way to really promote it. I think that would be fantastic for them to be a part of it. And I can visualize seeing them in their uniform. And, I think it's just a great way to show our appreciation. What do y'all think?
Just with the permission of the chair. Although the gentleman that Mr. Garitano mentioned kind of gave us the concept or the idea of the Hometown Heroes banner program, Mr. Garitano for many years had been promoting us doing something on Manchester Road for Veterans Day. A lot of communities like Ellisville put flags out. We generally had not done that. And it's something I remember very clearly. Mr. Garitano kept saying it'd be really nice since we've completed the streetscape. It's a perfect location. The streetlights are set up for the banners. And it came to fruition through the Hometown Heroes Banner program. And I don't know if you've driven Manchester Road recently since they've been installed, but I think they look great out there.
Yeah, I love it. The banners, that's, just the idea that I had seen, and not my idea, I've seen it in other communities, but while we have Main Street right out here, I mean, that is a main street of America, Route 66. So it's a great place for it. So, and I've heard a lot of great feedback about that.
Good.
Yeah, I was out of town and I got messages from people like how nice it looked. So that's great. Yeah, I think so. That then would you be reaching out to those that are able to attend?
Yes, the nice thing about this particular approach, if the commission endorses it and approves it, is that to get a banner, we have all the contact information, not only of the individual, but the family members. So it's very easy to contact them and see if they'd be interested. Certainly some may not be able to avail of themselves, but I think even if we've got half of the group, it's going to be a great opportunity to recognize them. And it kind of sets the theme because the parade ends, then we move into the opening ceremonies where we have the national anthem, the honor guard, presentation of the colors, etc. Department, we respectfully request, based upon the conversation held amongst the commission members and chair, a motion to have our grand marshals be the individuals represented on our current Hometown Heroes program.
Hey, Karen, raising your hand for a motion. All right, Jim.
Down here as our celebration.
All right, all right, we have a second here, so any other discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, say aye. Right, the motion passes, so we will keep moving forward, Joe.
Thank you all very much.
All right, so the next part is the promotion and advertising of the 2023 event.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair, and to Ms. Schultz and to others. Stacy and Kristen will be presenting more as we move into the next couple of months. So if you get tired of my voice, I apologize. So a couple of things relating to promotion and advertising. We've set up the meeting with West News Magazine, which has been an in-kind sponsor of the event, as well as our primary promotion avenue for past events. As you know, they usually do a center spread that's either 8 to 10 or 12 pages. That's a pullout. As part of that, there's a nice cover photo of that pullout section. And just a lot of like logistics information, the map, and then articles that they develop and then advertising they sell to cover the cost from their perspective. So they're an in-kind sponsor. They're receive a banner on the clock tower, our biggest promotional component. And for the most part, we've contacted them. We have something scheduled for the end of June to meet with them and kind of start the wheels in motion. So at our July meeting, we'll have a lot of updates relative to the West News Magazine. We are already starting the preparation for the Gazette, and that's the local publication from the city that goes to the approximately 13,000 households in the city of Wildwood. We have not in the past solicited from the commission members input into those different articles or items that we provide. Given the background of many of our members, if you would like to offer some suggestions or some short descriptions of some of the events that you've been familiar with or feel really kind of capture the spirit of Wildwood in this particular event, I would offer that to you tonight. We write a lot of it. We write a lot of it again and again. So sometimes I think from my perspective, solely me, it gets a little, I think, it seems like what I wrote last year. So if there is some interest or you have an idea, we usually get about 3 to 4 pages of the 16-page edition. So it's quite a bit of information. So, but we're working on that already. We've got our set aside, so to speak, as part of it. We've also solicited a proposal from Debbie Ward, Silver Tablet Marketing. Ms. Ward has done work for us on past events, Celebrate Wildwood events. We've not received a proposal. We expect to have that in July for presentation to the commission members and action, and that would go to City Council. Ms. Ward has done, I think, just a wonderful job. She understands Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter much better than I think anybody on the city team. And we've used her to do the date night component. We've used her to promote different components of the event. And as I've told you previously and again tonight, we intend to start the promotion probably right after the July meeting when we get the endorsement from the commission for Ms. Ward. There's always that risk, and the two professionals that are on the commission understand this better than I, but starting too early, sometimes people forget. Starting too late, people can't fit it in. But we've really made a commitment to those that have signed up and are participating that for that $100 fee, we want to do as much as we can to make the event successful and draw as many people to it as we can. Notwithstanding all of that, pray for good weather, because that's usually that's the biggest determinant of success or not, quite frankly. But so just remember, good weather. So a lot of things are going on. July will have a pretty comprehensive update of all the things that are available. I am going to send you an email tomorrow, just reminding you of the Gazette. I'll see if I can attach the last 2 copies of the Gazette so you can kind of see what we've done. I think there's a lot of ways to improve it. And so I would depend on the commission members to help us in that regard. Tonight, the other item, and I say this knowing we're recording and on live stream, we've kind of given you the answers to the crossword puzzle. So please don't share them. So, you don't have to turn to the back page, but here's the circumstance. Last meeting, great conversation about kind of drawing interest prior to the event, And last year, the scavenger hunt was wildly successful. We had people coming to the city tent all day long, just saying how much they enjoyed it when they were picking up their prizes. I believe, Ms. Slaughter, you had the idea of maybe combining it with like a bingo kind of thing. And so we put our heads together, more so Stacy and Kristen than I, and we kind of came up with what you have before you tonight. I'm not going into very many specifics about what's on there. I'll let you read it. But we think we've got something here that would be pretty fun. And you get a prize if you get bingo. You get a special prize if you get all of them. And we were thinking of using photographs this time instead of clues. And, you know, just how you take the angle of the photograph or how much you show or don't show could add a bit of challenge to it all. So that's the presentation tonight. What do you think of what we've got? Please take it apart, put it back together. We want to do it. We want to make it the best we can. And what do you think of photographs? So with that, Mr. Chair, I'll zip it shut for a bit.
Any discussion?
And one last comment I lied. If you haven't been to Bluffview Park and gone to the bluff where we have new seating and cleaned it up, that's why it's the first square. It's really, really special. So. And that's the only one we'll give to the participants. They now know one.
I think this is really great. I also love how I'm again going to be delicate since I'm sure lots of people will watch this, try and get the scavenger hunt answers. But I love how it seems like they're kind of in almost neighborhoods. So like even just thinking down the middle, straight up and cross, like that's all kind of right in a line. Like I could get that on as I'm walking my dog from 109 to Community Park, kind of a thing. So I think that was really great. It feels like everybody can win, which is awesome. So thoughtful. Thank you guys. This is really beautiful.
Yes, ma'am.
No, I love this, but I saw how they're going to be different punches for each one. So how are you guys going to secure that? Are you going to have like a bike lock or something to get around it so it doesn't walk off?
Ms. Chansky is our architect of the hole punch and I think
know there were that many different hole punches.
we're going to figure it out.
Okay. Oh, all right. That would be my only concern is at last time they got to pick up a token from the site, but this time they do the punch, but those things can walk. So I don't know. Bike locks. I don't know. You guys will have to have some idea, but I do love this.
Officer DeGalder has agreed to do.
Of man the
Installation.
squares of every single square. That'd be great. No, this is fun. I think people will enjoy it.
Again, I don't want to. It just seemed like last year people just really enjoyed it.
Yeah, they did because I worked the booth and when they hand one, we gave them a sweatshirt or something. I was helping with that and they were like,
It just seemed like
uh,
very enjoyable item for people to participate.
very cool.
The only thing that I think might be worth adding, totally doesn't need to be, but obviously the Wildwood history book is going to be making its debut at Celebrate Wildwood. So maybe making one of the squares to visit that tent just to draw some more attention to it.
Great
And-
suggestion. Thank you. Chair's permission, could I do a little promo on the history book?
Sure.
So we have a Historic Preservation Commission. Ms. Slaughter sits on that commission as well. Back in 2015, the commission had an idea that between 2015, which was our 15th anniversary, and 2020, which would be our 25th anniversary, 20 and 25, we would write a chapter each year relative to the history of this area in Wildwood, the last chapter being, for the most part, the incorporation effort and the first 20 years of the city. COVID stepped in and kind of derailed all of this. So we're now in our 8th year. And I am proud to announce through the efforts of 2 consultants and Robin Keefe, our kind of historic preservation planner, we now have a final draft. And we're working on the catalog numbers. We're working on the bibliography, which is almost complete, in the index. And we'll have probably a proof to that to our Historic Preservation Commission for their meeting in 2 weeks. So we think we will have a published document book for the event itself, and it's going to be something special. A lot of people have really worked very, very hard on it. And I think they're quite proud of it. So you, as members of the commission, will receive a free copy. But and just one last thing, the Historic Preservation Commission, Ms. Slaughter, as an attendee and commission member. Typically, we had the city history booth at one portion, and then the Wildwood Historical Society at another portion. So they weren't in proximity because they are separate entities, and sometimes we get mixed up together. But this year, we're going to have them basically next to each other, but separating them will be the tent for the book. And the idea is really that both entities will promote it, because the primary author was Jill von Gruben, who's been one of the founders of the Historical Society since 1999. So thank you for letting me take your time and do the promotion. But I think it's a great thing, and hopefully you'll all like what you see. So we'll take out one of the one square and add in another per Ms. Slaughter's suggestion. Obviously, if there are other comments, please. I hope the photographs is okay with everyone as the clue. Then I guess I would ask for a motion to proceed forward with the design.
Wishes to make a motion, Holly?
I'll make a motion that we go forward with the scavenger hunt as the bingo card.
I'll second.
All right, Ashley, second. All right. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Great. Motion passes. So we will move on to the next item there. Joe, that's what, other considerations?
Yes, and just a couple of things. I don't want to basically describe what you all can read, but there's several positive points in the update this year, or excuse me, this month. First and foremost, we've worked through all the details with the contracts relative to the fireworks display. Contracts from the fireworks company to the city and then ours back to them are very, very difficult. And I kind of give a shout out to Ms. Chansky and Ms. Nager for their efforts in that regard. So that's all taken care of. And if the information from Ellisville and Manchester is correct, we're going to be very pleased with the show. Those two communities have used this company for years and have them back every year. And they just, again, are very, very supportive of them. And so thank you for letting us explore different approaches to the fireworks display. We were hoping to have a single waste hauler sponsor the fireworks. As you'll find out here shortly, we're going to have two waste haulers for the city and a little different approach. So we'll be in discussions with two about covering some or all of the costs just as part of a welcome to Wildwood. So we also are working on the sponsorships. Chris, do you mind kind of going through what Stacy, you came up with? Thank you.
Okay, so we have sent out the letters to all the businesses in Wildwood, and we've had some good responses. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 responses of sponsors for the event: Wildwood Hotel, Century Ortho, Lucky Dog, Apple Hill Preschool, and today we received Wildwood Vision Specialist and St. Louis Community College Wildwood. So what we've done to keep us going, we have done a little,
I love it.
yes. So it's really getting us hyped up about And when we get one, you get excited. It's almost like ringing a bell. And as you can see next to your packets, next to you, we have made 10 copies for each of you of the application and information for sponsors. So if you know anybody that you could pass that along to, we would love it. And that would really help us out. So at this point, we have $3,500 in sponsorships. And our fundraising goal, as we all know, is $30,000. So our percentage at this point is 11.67. So that is where we're at right now.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
We talked about sending it to the neighborhoods, like you have the HOA information, I suppose, at the city that you could send it to each neighborhood and see if the neighborhood wants to sponsor. Are we going to still do that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, because as you know, the action last month of the commission was to endorse a new sponsorship category, which is a subdivision. So we have generally a lot of information on some of the subdivisions. We don't have it on all, but we'll send it out to everybody we know where we have a contact that can help us, a trustee. So that's in the works as well. We also are going to send out a letter to that consultant contracting community. Again, I just feel very strongly they should participate. They receive a great deal of business from Wildwood, and I think this is a great way to say we appreciate that. So, but those two will go out hopefully I'm thinking right after the 4th of July. I think anything that comes before the 4th of July might get lost just with the holiday and all. But yes, that'll give a full 2 months. And we don't order the banners till the end of July, as I recall. So we've got beginning of August. Thank you.
What about the internet company?
Spectrum?
Oh, well, I mean, since we've gotten more, didn't they get some more business from us?
Yes. And there's a long story. We're struggling with Spectrum right now and some of the installation issues and resident complaints. And so, yeah, we're going to tap every stone we can, so to speak, to get money. Because as you know, the challenge to us as a commission and support staff to you was to raise $30,000 through sponsorships and fees and revenues, et cetera. I do want to mention that I did contact the president of the Pond Athletic Association. We've traded phone calls. We've not spoken. During that period where we were trading phone calls, I understand his father passed away. So I left a message with him and just said, when you have a moment, please contact me or any of the Stacy or Kristen. So we are working on that. I just know at the stage there's a bit of we're not in contact as much as I would like. So, but I've explained to them the expectation that they pay the full fee and that there be a component of revenue sharing. So that has been introduced to them. Other good news, the 80s band, we had some struggles with the contract, not so much that they don't want to play, it's just they're not used to contracts like we have, but we finally, the efforts of Stacy and Chris, we have that contract signed. We also, for the purposes of the parade, now have the red and black brass band on contracted, and they will be there. So if all else fails and we can't get a band, marching band from one of the high schools, we'll have at least some music at the parade itself like we did last year. Officer DeGelder had a pretty good idea, very good idea, in fact, and I know he's exploring that. Lafayette has homecoming the Friday before the event. So we were wondering if they maybe would like to participate in the event, since there'll be the homecoming games that night, the events that night. So we were hoping maybe they might want to participate. So he's exploring that for us, as I recall. So we'll keep trying. Just some numbers. We've got 16 vendors for food and beverage. Many of them are new. We also, one of them, Tipsy Clover, is affiliated with Clancy's in Ellisville. They also had a great suggestion that we hope you support. They're going to sponsor a changing station for families, so that if there's a need for change a diaper, to feed, I hope that's the appropriate term, that we'll have something for them sponsored by Clancy. So that's kind of a nice addition. We've never had that before, so I think it's a great suggestion. It came from Clancy's to Kristen, and we immediately said, good news. And then finally, as you can see, as we move through the months, there's a whole lot of things that are completed. The only things that really aren't are kind of the finalization of the volunteers and getting people involved in that regard. We usually wait a little further into the process before we start asking for people to commit their time. If there are any questions on any of these items, we'll be glad to answer them. Stacy, Chris, or I. I would say that I wish we had a few more applications from our crafters, vendors, agencies. We are getting a little bit of feedback about the $100 fee. But if past practice holds true to form, we usually get the lion's share of it much, much later in the process. People, I guess, are people. So, but as of now, we have 4 authors, 1 not-for-profit, 21 artists, fine crafters, and 1 organization. So if you do the quick math, we have 26 plus the city's 10th Wildwood Historical Society. There'll be a number of others that'll fill in, but we can accommodate up to about 75 or 80.
Just a quick thought. I know you guys are turning over every stone, but I know that we have a lot of new developments that are headed our way in Wildwood. Have you considered reaching out to some of the developers? I know that, some of them might not be ready to advertise because they haven't broke ground, but there are others that are getting closer to being completed. Any thoughts on that?
If there is no objection amongst the commission members, there's about 4 or 5 that by that time we'll have probably zoning in place and begin. So it's a great pre-marketing opportunity for them.
Even just think, what a great opportunity for the development going in next to the B&B Ed's property. We're right there. I don't know if they'll be ready yet. I know that they're a little bit earlier in the process, but
certainly ask them some things for the suggestion if there's no objection on the chair's part of the commission members.
I think that as long as we don't, my only concern would be is if we have a conflict of interest, right? If there's a proposal that is being reviewed by the
that's
city.
true. If they're not,
And, there's a contribution, could it be even the perception of it could.
maybe the ball needs to be significantly far down the field as far as, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I think at least a few of them will have zoning. So I feel pretty comfortable once the commission acts. And again, we're just charging them the same fee, $100. So I hope that people would not think we'd be influenced by $100.
I know somebody would. I have a question. I have a comment.
Yes, please go ahead.
When we were talking about back, you're saying about articles for the Gazette. Last year, when I worked in the celebration administration booth, a lot of people came up and said, how can we volunteer? I think a volunteer article in the Gazette, because, and I didn't know how to tell them. So, and then if people do want to volunteer, because there are young people, the parents will bring their kids up. Is there something my child can do? So I just think if we had an article about how you can volunteer for the day, an hour or 2, might help us.
Pardon me. I'm sorry.
Quite a few students require service hours from their schools as well.
Okay.
So it might be a good way for them to contribute.
And if there's no objection, that'll be one of the things we add. Mr. Chair, that's all the 3 of us have on in terms of updates. I hope you're satisfied with the progress we're making. Thank you.
Right. Well, then that brings us to anything else before we move on to conclude our meeting. Any other final thoughts from the commission? This would probably be a good time. All right, then our next meeting date is going to be Thursday, July 6th. So I am not going to be available that date. So you will have the opportunity to run the meeting because unfortunately I will not be
Happy to
present.
do it.
So that's a Thursday. Keep that in
I
mind.
know.
Thursday, July 6th. The- Look for a motion for adjournment. Motion by Karen, seconded by Holly. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Yeah, so I actually am